So I recently posted that I'm going to do a Q&A about moving to and living in Sweden. And I actually received quite a few questions, so thank you very much for submitting your questions about Sweden. I tried to answer as many questions as possible. I could see there are a little bit more questions throughout the videos, which I didn't have the time to answer, but I feel this could be a good type of videos to repeat. If you like a regular Q&A with me, then let me know down in the comments below. Hey, if you're new to my channel, my name is Julie and I'm originally from Germany. In June 2021, 1 year and 3 months ago, I moved from London, UK to Stockholm in Sweden. I moved here with my British partner and our 3-year-old, almost 4-year-old daughter. And now we also have a 6-month-old daughter. So we are a small family of 4. I talk about Sweden in life. I still feel very new to Sweden, although it has been over a year now. But yeah, I share my opinion about Sweden, what it is like, the pros and the cons, the obstacles, the joys. If you like to follow my journey here in Sweden, then make sure to subscribe to my channel. Let's get started with the questions and my answers. Here comes the first question, or the first person, because this person had a few questions and I will just go through all of the questions. I have a few questions for you. How much do you pay for a house per month? Expenses for food, services and other per month? Do white nights cause inconvenience and how do you deal with it? Please tell us a little bit about the climate in Sweden. Which houses the Swedes like to build more, from wood or from stone? And which house would be better? And the last question is, renting apartments and houses in Sweden, exactly how much you will have to pay per month. So let's get started with the first one. How much do you pay for a house per month? So that varies a little bit based on our interest rates. We have 3 different interest rates on 3 portions of our mortgage. And so far we have only paid once, so we are still quite new to paying our mortgage and we have only done it once. In our rental property, we paid 28,000 krona, which is about 2,300 pounds. Or $2,600, but everything was included there. So also the bills, the electricity bills, the water, community fees, whatever was part of it, it was all included. But still, I know it was a lot of money. And I think now we are paying between 12,000 and 14,000 krona, if I'm not mistaken. Again, it was only once so far, which is £1,000 to £1,150. Or $1,100 to $1,300. But then again, we pay all the bills extra now. And there is kind of a community fee of 1,000 krona. We paid the electricity bill twice so far. And it has not been cheap, really. The last time we paid 2,500 krona, which is around 200 pounds and $230. And bear in mind, we haven't even reached winter, so that's a little bit shocking and also a bit worrying where this amount is going. So I will keep you updated. It can get definitely higher. It will definitely be higher. We just hope that, it's still affordable. I mean, you can't just open-ended have electricity bills, or we just have to switch off our lights and live in the dark. I don't know. I'm a bit dramatic, but yeah, so this is a bit of an overview about how much we pay for our house. Then the second question was about expenses, food, services, and other per month. There's quite a lot of different things here. So I try to be super brief. For food, we try to stick to a budget of 6,000 krona. For groceries, which is about 490 pounds, $550, which it's quite expensive in my opinion. We still haven't figured out to really reduce that. And obviously with inflation going on, the prices are not cheap either at the moment. And we spent maybe around 3,000 krona, which is 160 pounds, $200 on restaurants or takeaways, give or take. Mobile phones, that's not too bad. I pay 99 krona per month and my partner doesn't pay anything because he just uses his work phone. And then the internet is 299. We do have still UK mobile phones we're using, paying for about, I think, 10, 12 pounds. which is hard to get rid of because it's connected still to quite a few things. So that's something we pay, but obviously this is nothing you have to pay if you want to come here. That's kind of like the main bits and bobs, I would say, to give you a bit of an overview. Do white nights cause inconvenience and how do you deal with it? Please tell us a little bit about the climate in Sweden. So I assume with white nights you mean that during the summer the nights are brighter, so it's not really getting dark. And personally, I don't struggle with it at all. It's because, you have blinds, you can darken your room, and then it is dark and you can sleep. But also in our previous house, we actually had a high up window where there were no curtains or anything. My partner and I, we are good sleepers, so if we're tired, we just sleep through it and it's not a problem at all. And of course, for the kids, it's the same thing. You need some dark blinds for them to sleep. We don't have like super blackout blinds. There's always a little bit of light coming through, but it hasn't been a problem so far. And then the climate in Sweden, you have really warm, nice summers, and the winters are a bit colder, and obviously the winters also a bit longer, and you have normally also a beautiful autumn. I would say the climate is quite similar to Germany. The weather and the temperature is based on the different seasons. So winter is quite cold, and then it depends in Sweden probably where you live. Obviously up north, like it can be winter already in October, and when you live in the south, it is milder than in some areas. The air is a bit drier. Which houses the Swedes like to build more, from wood or from stone, and which house would be better? I have to say this is quite a topic I haven't really looked into it. I know that in the past it was wood, and there's still some interest in building houses with wood, and the technology around it also has evolved, so it's not catching fire so easily. So that's actually something I read, so I really had to research a little bit. But in the 50s, you had like concrete. So I know from house hunting that you have to look a little bit or ask if there's any radon in the walls, which obviously is not great. So you kind of wanted to avoid that. That's all I really know about that, but it's also not used anymore. So all the new houses will definitely not have that. So I don't know if that answers your question. I think in the countryside it's definitely more wood. But yeah, this is all I know. If you're lucky, you will find some answers in the comments, because I know some of my viewers are very knowledgeable and they're also from Sweden, so they might actually be able to answer that question. Renting apartments and houses in Sweden, exactly how much you will have to pay per month? Ooh, I'm afraid this is also a question I really can't answer, because it depends so much on all the different things, First of all, is it an apartment? Is it a house? Where is it located? Is it in a big city like Stockholm? Is it just outside of Stockholm? Or is it completely in the countryside? The costs vary greatly. So I'm afraid it's really impossible to answer that question. I know it's very unsatisfying, but it's not a lot of details in that question, I'm afraid. So there are another few questions from another person, which I can go through. They are asking, how much do you pay for your house in Sweden? Would you like to have Swedish citizenship? And does the kindergarten, preschool in Sweden invite, integrate, ask, promote, provide information, people, organization from LGBT? If so, where does this happen? Public kindergartens? Can you investigate a little about it and provide us this information? Honestly, this is something that I'm worried about. Living in Sweden or any country with this integration, and not just integration, I've heard news about promoting this lifestyle. I hope your sincere opinion about it, and hoping to hear your investigation inside of Sweden. So how much do you pay for the house? We already answered that question. Would you like to have Sweden citizenship? Yes, definitely. The reason is, for me, it might not be so applicable or necessary because I'm an EU citizen, but my partner is British. And, if he loses his job, touch wood, then it's better to have a Swedish citizenship, just in case, and also for the kids, just to be completely integrated, I feel, if you really wanted to stay longer here. And that's currently the plan. So yes, we would apply for it when the time comes. I guess it will be in 5 years or minus 1 year and 3 months. when we are able to actually apply for Swedish citizenship. And then there's a question about the kindergarten and the LGBT community. So I wasn't sure if that's actually a concern of yours, that this might exist in preschools or schools, but I can share you my personal opinion. And I did a little bit of research, and yes, there are kindergartens and schools where the staff is trained. They are an LGBTQ certified preschool, so it does exist, and I have to say that is really amazing. Like, I would definitely send my children to a preschool like that, where they welcome kids with that background or parents, where they have staff very familiar who are also part of the community. I would love that, because it really means my children get to know what it is like to build a better understanding and to just, build tolerance for everyone, really. It's about integration, it's about diversity. So I would totally welcome if that happens in my kindergarten, where my children are, or one child at the moment is. I haven't read anything about it, but I will ask if they do provide that, because I feel like this could be very beneficial for my children. I don't know what you meant with lifestyle and promoting that lifestyle. My personal opinion is it's a community, it's who you are. It's not something you maybe choose. So I was a bit confused about that question, but maybe that's just how I see it. But yeah, in short, it does exist in Sweden, and if you're particularly looking for a preschool like that, you will definitely find it in Sweden. And here's another question. Not sure if you can help on this specific topic. I'm a nurse working in the UK and I'm interested in working in Sweden. Is there requirements to speak fluent Swedish in order to obtain work in healthcare sector? Thank you for your videos. They're great. Thank you for watching and for the compliment. So I'm pretty sure in the healthcare sector, you have to speak Swedish as a nurse. What I have read in other groups, I think some people were asking that. And when you want to be a nurse here in Sweden, I think you need to speak Swedish. Okay, here comes another question. Hello, how do you dress in the coldest month? Do you know local brand stores with good quality items? Thank you so much. That's a very great question. And I definitely had the same question when I came here. I was just very aware it's going to be cold, and I never really had like proper winter clothes. It was not the same in the UK or even in Germany, but I guess also because I was just visiting in Germany for a short period of time. There are a lot of shops, so I don't think there's a specific shop which I would recommend. When you go to a shopping mall, you will find several stores, and I think you can just go into and see if it is your style. I can tell you what the brand is called. I bought my coat from, and I really love it, and it's super thick. Sometimes it's actually a little bit too warm depending on the winter day. But yeah, it's from Rains, and I can leave a link down in the comments below if you want to check out the online store. And then I have a hat from Mats Norgard, Copenhagen, which I really love. It was really great. And then my scarf is from Uniqlo. You see, the different clothes come from different shops, and you will find plenty here. But yeah, I think these are the essentials. And then obviously gloves, and I can't even remember what the brand is. I think it's kind of a no brand I have with my gloves. Oh, and my shoes, my boots. Okay, I just came back. My boots, these, are actually Blundstone, and they're from Australia. So they're not even from Sweden. And I was a bit worried. They are, from Australia and maybe made for Australian people, and I was a bit worried they might not be thick enough, but so far they proved to be really amazing. With some thick socks, it works perfectly. But yeah, this is just me and my clothes. When you come to Sweden, when you live in Sweden, you can go anywhere and you will guaranteed find something for you. Okay, here comes the next question. Where in Sweden have you been so far, and where would you like to go? Any favorite places? smultronställen to recommend to others. So I had to look up the word smultronställen, and I think it's like beaches and stuff like that. And it's a great question, so thank you very much for asking that question. And here's a boring answer. We haven't been much around Sweden, and that definitely has a few reasons. One is when we moved here, everything was new. My partner started a job, concentrating on the job, not really taking any holidays, and concentrating to get settled here. And then I also got pregnant, and then I had a newborn, and that was a bit harder to travel anywhere. But the craziness is over, I would say. So next year, or even now in winter, we haven't made any plans yet, but we will definitely explore more. As I mentioned a few times in my videos, my partner loves camping, and Sweden is perfect for that. That's definitely something we will do next summer when the kids are a little bit older. We have been to a few places just outside of Stockholm. Last year at Christmas, we went to Wick's Slot, Wick's Castle, because there was a Christmas market I wanted to go to, so we went there. And then we have been to Uto, which is like an archipelago island. But it's not very far, so I don't know if that counts really to explore Sweden. We definitely have to do that. And, if you have any recommendations, please leave them down in the comments below. I have a list with all the things some viewers already mentioned to me. So I will definitely check that out once we are planning to explore Sweden a little bit more. And here comes the next question. Why many foreigners see Sweden a depressing cold country, and why also Arab foreigners complain that they are treated with racism in Sweden? I wish you would answer those questions to have a clearer look about Sweden. Have a nice day. I don't know that foreigners see Sweden as a cold, depressing country. Maybe it depends on where you actually live. I guess the winter month, the dark winter month is probably the hardest thing. So for people who want to move to Sweden, this is something you have to really consider. And I talked about this in my previous video. It's about, the vitamin D you need. But yeah, maybe this is one kind of reason why people don't want to move to Sweden, and that's fair enough. And to your second question about Arab foreigners, that is a very hard question to answer, to be honest. I cannot speak for those Arab foreigners, so I'm afraid I can't really answer that question properly for you. Okay, here comes a German question, but I translated it, so I will just read it in English basically. I would like to know if non-EU citizens' permanent residence permit can also immigrate to Sweden. Was it more difficult for your partner to immigrate because he's British? I always enjoy checking out your channel. There's always something interesting from Sweden. Thank you very much. I think the best way as a non-EU citizen to come to Sweden is by having a job here or by being self-sufficient. It was the same with my partner. He got a job here, and so with the help of his company, he also started all the paperwork you need to do, and they're sponsoring him to be here. So it seems like this is the best way. I'm sure there are other ways, but it is a little bit more complicated, and the outcome is not always clear. It's a bit more straightforward when you have a job and a company to sponsor you. And I'm not sure what you mean with the permanent residence permit. If you do have that in Sweden, it shouldn't be a problem. I'm sure you can move to Sweden and live here in Sweden. If you mean that it's just maybe a permit from another country, then I doubt you can just transfer to any other EU country. You probably have to apply within Sweden for that. And then here is the last question, or two questions from one person. Have you been to Uppsala? And if yes, was it nice? Do you think the cold winters will be hard to deal with? As someone coming from Australia, I was born in Sweden, but I haven't felt cold weather in a long time. So the first question about Uppsala. Unfortunately, I've not been to Uppsala, although it's very close to Stockholm and it's definitely on my list, and I feel we are going there very soon because it's quite close. I heard it's very beautiful, and before I moved to Sweden, I actually heard, I don't know why, but it's the oldest university city in Sweden. So when I hear Uppsala, that's what I connected with. Yeah, I will definitely make another video update about Uppsala, because I did want to actually make some videos about the places I've been. So if that's something you're interested in, do let me know in the comments below, so I feel more encouraged to actually make these videos. And then about the cold winters and you coming from Australia, it really depends on your personality and your whole attitude towards it. If you're already worried, or if you're concerned or scared of cold, dark winters, you might have maybe a bigger issue with that. If you think maybe you could do it and you see the brighter side of things, like you can cozy up at home, you can, light lots of candles, or even do some winter sports, then maybe you have a better chance to go through these winter months without being, depressed or sad about it. I feel like I'm still very positive about it, maybe more positive than others, because I hear even from friends that the winter months are really tough, because they are quite long and they're quite dark here in Sweden compared, for example, to Germany. It's definitely not the case there. So you really have to think about, can you do it? And you were even talking about the cold, which is another thing. I know that some people are escaping the winters by spending some weeks or months somewhere in warm countries like Australia. So yeah, it's a tricky question to answer, because it really depends what you think you can do. It's definitely doable, but I don't come from Australia, so I already have a bit of a background of the different seasons. From Germany, can be quite cold there as well. My tip is just to be super prepared and buy the right clothes we just talked about, and you should be fine. Okay, this was it for this video. I know there have been more questions, and again, if you do have any more questions, leave them down below and I make more videos like this, Q&A with me about Sweden. Thanks so much for watching till the end. I hope I will see you in my next video, and as always, have a great day and stay safe. Hey do!